I uncovered my ex's secret relationship with her physician, so I legally ended our marriage without saying anything. Be me. 31-year-old Marcus still can't wrap my head around the nuke that just dropped on my life. My engagement is over. The way it ended was straight-up reality show material. She wanted to work through some issues before the wedding. Yeah, it didn't go how she planned. Here's what went down. Some background first. I'm a civil engineer at a construction firm. Decent money, solid 401k, own my place. I've always been the responsible type. My dad walked out when I was 11. Basically grew up watching my mom struggle to make ends meet. Made me determined to have my shit together as an adult. Met Jessica 3.5 years ago. She's 28, works in pharmaceutical sales. Smart, gorgeous, has this way of making everyone feel important. Like they're the most important person in the room. Classic extrovert to my introvert. We moved in together after 16 months. I proposed on our 2.5-year anniversary. Wedding was set for this coming November. Venue booked, deposits paid, save the dates sent. Everything seemed great. Or so I thought. Looking back, I should have paid more attention to the red flags. Especially her cousin Brooke. Brooke is 26 and the type of woman that makes men's skin crawl, constantly posting inspirational quotes about knowing your worth, while burning through relationships like matches. 3 divorces by 26, always someone else's fault. She's the brutally honest friend who's heavy on the brutal, light on the honest. Designer knockoffs, vocal fry, permanent sense of entitlement. Brooke has been in Jessica's ear since day one of our relationship, always with the backhanded compliments. It's so refreshing that Jessica doesn't care about a guy's looks. You're lucky she doesn't mind dating someone who isn't ambitious. Said this shit to my face. Jessica would just laugh it off like it was the funniest thing ever. Things started getting weird about 6 weeks ago. Jessica became distant, constantly texting with Brooke, going out for cousin nights multiple times a week. She started making odd comments about our relationship, calling it a safe space. Said she appreciated my stability, not exactly the passionate language you want from your future wife. Then last Tuesday, Jessica suggested we do a therapy session together. Says she's been seeing this therapist, Dr. Martinez, for a few months, working through some unresolved issues about her ex, Ryan. This dude was apparently the love of her life, who dumped her for her college roommate 5 years ago. I knew about Ryan, but Jessica always made it sound like ancient history. Brooke thinks it would be really helpful for us, she said, not meeting my eyes. Couples who do pre-marriage therapy have stronger bonds. Something about her tone set off alarm bells, but I ignored them. I wanted her to be in a good headspace for our marriage. That's what a supportive partner does, right? The morning of the appointment, I overheard Jessica on the phone, speaking in that hushed conspiratorial tone she only used with Brooke. Yes, today's the day. Dr. Martinez thinks it's best to be honest. I know, but Brooke, I can't keep pretending. Yes, I'll call you right after. My stomach tightened, but I told myself it was just wedding stress. Maybe she was having doubts about the big party, or wanted to scale back. Normal stuff, right? We get to Dr. Martinez's office. The session starts normally. Dr. Martinez is a professional-looking woman in her 50s. Asks about our relationship timeline, wedding plans, etc. Then she asks what specific issues we want to address. Jessica straightens up and says cool as ice. I want to discuss my transition plan. I've been using this relationship to heal from Ryan and work through my abandonment issues. Before I find someone I actually want to spend my life with, I literally felt my stomach drop through the floor. Dr. Martinez looked as shocked as I felt. Jessica, Dr. Martinez said cautiously, is this something you've discussed with your fiancé before? Jessica laughed. God, no, but he should be thankful, honestly. He gets a hot fiancé who's way out of his league. And I get emotional stability while I prepare for my real husband. It's transactional, but we both benefit. It's just smart emotional economics. Dr. Martinez's face went white. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. I calmly stood up, looked at Dr. Martinez and said, "Thank you for your time. This has been enlightening." Then I walked out without another word. Jessica's face when I stood up to leave was priceless. That smug smile vanished real quick. Wait, Marcus, we still have time left. Where are you going? I didn't even look back. Got in my Ford F-150, turned off my phone, drove straight to my buddy Derek's place. Derek is 31, been my best friend since college. Former Marine with zero filter. Only person I trust completely. I must have looked like death when he opened the door, because his first words were, Dude who died, you need some water or something stronger. Something stronger. Lots of it? 3 shots of whiskey in, I explained what happened. Derek's reaction was exactly what I needed. Hold up. She said what in front of a freaking therapist? That's next level psycho, bro. He started laughing, which made me laugh, which was the first time I'd felt human since walking out of that office. You know what this calls for? Derek grinned. Operation Shock and Awe. By 1 a.m. we had a plan. I crashed on Derek's couch. At 7 a.m. the next day while Jessica would still be asleep. She never wakes up before 10. We executed phase 1. I turned my phone back on. 52 missed calls, 25 voicemails, 73 texts. The progression was fascinating. Where are you? Why did you leave like that? You're being ridiculous. It wasn't what it sounded like. You need to come back so we can finish the session. Answer your damn phone. Are you seriously ghosting me right now? My cousin Brooke thinks you're being emotionally abusive by not responding. I'm calling your mother if you don't answer. Derek read the texts over my shoulder, almost choked on his coffee. Her cousin thinks you're abusive. The same cousin who got caught screwing her sister's husband. At their baby shower. Yes, Brooke, Jessica's cousin and self-proclaimed relationship guru. I arrived home with Derek and 2 other friends as witnesses. Jessica was out probably at Brooke's plotting her next move. We changed the lock's garage code and all electronic passwords. In under an hour, I transferred her essential stuff, medications, toiletries, enough clothes for a week, into boxes and left them with the property manager, with instructions to give them only to Jessica. Then I called my lawyer, confirmed that, since she wasn't on the deed or mortgage, and we weren't married yet, I was within my rights. The 6-carat engagement ring, though, that was legally a conditional gift, predicated on marriage. Mine to reclaim, I sent one text. Your essentials are with Frank at the property office. You have until Thursday to arrange removal of remaining belongings. The engagement ring should be returned with your keys. Any attempt to enter the property without prior arrangement will be considered trespassing. Then I blocked her number. Checkmate. The fallout was immediate. Within hours, her best friend Jenna was blowing up my phone. What the actual fuck, Marcus? Jessica's sobbing at my place saying you kicked her out. Over a misunderstanding in therapy. Jenna, she literally told her therapist, she's using me as emotional practice. Before finding her real husband. Those were her exact words. Long pause. There's no way ask her word for word. I blocked Jenna too. Oh, and I forgot to mention, first thing, Wednesday morning, I called the wedding venue. Photographer, caterer, and every other vendor to cancel everything. This was tricky because her parents had covered about 75% of the deposits. Not because they were generous, but because Jessica had convinced them she needed a lavish Instagram-worthy wedding to establish her personal brand. I'm talking $92,000 for a custom venue with lake views, $14,000 photographer who usually shoots for celebrities, custom designer dress that costs more than my truck, ice sculptures drone show instead of fireworks. The works. Her parents were basically bankrolling their daughter's social media fantasy. They'd already dropped nearly $55,000 in non-refundable deposits. I could have just walked away and let them deal with it. But I'm not that petty. I called each vendor, explained the situation. Keeping it vague, just relationship ended due to breach of trust, and asked about their cancellation policies. Most were surprisingly understanding. A few even offered partial refunds if they could rebook the date. I sent a mass email to all invited guests, with the subject line, "Wedding Cancelled," and a brief dignified explanation that circumstances have arisen that make this marriage impossible. By Thursday morning, Brooke showed up at my door. Brooke with her fake Louboutins, live laugh, love personality, and that smug expression like she's perpetually winning, an argument no one else is having. I only opened the door because Derek was with me. Marcus, this has gone too far. Jessica's a wreck. Hello to you too, Brooke. Look, she misspoke in therapy. Dr. Martinez was asking leading questions, and Jessica was exploring hypothetical feelings. That's what therapy is. Did Jessica tell you exactly what she said? Brooke shifted uncomfortably. She said you misunderstood something she said about working through issues. Brooke switched tactics. You can't legally evict her without notice. She has tenant rights. And what about the wedding? Do you know how humiliating it is for her to tell everyone it's canceled? Her parents have spent a fortune on this wedding. Derek stepped forward. Actually, she has no lease, pays no rent, and her legal residence is still her parents' address. According to her driver's license and tax returns, she's a guest who's been asked to leave. And as for the wedding, he shrugged. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Brooke left, but not before saying, "This isn't the end of this, Marcus. Jessica's dad is calling his lawyer friend. You've embarrassed their entire family. Do you know how many society pages we're going to cover this wedding?" I smiled. Great, my lawyer would love to discuss. The documented admission of fraud and misrepresentation, entering into a marriage contract. Should be an interesting conversation. That night, Jessica's parents called. Her dad was livid. "You think you can humiliate my daughter like this? Cancel a wedding without even talking to us first. Do you know how many of our friends and business associates were invited? We've spent over $55,000 already." Mr. Bennett, did Jessica tell you exactly what she said in that therapy session? I don't care what was said. You don't just walk out on a 3.5-year relationship over one comment. We've invested everything in this wedding. My wife's been planning this for a year. Would you want that for your daughter? To marry someone who saw her as a stepping stone? Silence. The vendors have been paid through the end of the month, I continued. If Jessica finds someone else to marry in the next 3 weeks, the deposits are all hers. He hung up on me. Progress. Sunday brought a new level of drama. Jessica's mother called again, this time with a completely different tone. "Marcus, look, everyone says things they don't mean sometimes, especially in therapy. The important thing is that Jessica loves you. The wedding is only 4 months away. We've already paid the florist in full. My sister is flying in from Australia. I'm sorry about the inconvenience, but I'm not marrying someone who sees me as an emotional practice dummy." Her voice hardened. "You know, Jessica told us you had commitment issues. Because of your father leaving? Is that what this is about?" That was a low blow. "Actually, it's because I respect marriage too much. To enter into one with someone who explicitly stated she's using me to prepare for her real husband. But nice try with the amateur psychology. Well, we've already spoken to our attorney. You can't just back out of a wedding this close without consequences. There are financial implications. Your attorney should familiarize himself with breach of marital contract due to fraudulent representation. I have a therapist's documentation that your daughter admitted to entering our engagement under false pretenses." She hung up. 10 minutes later, Jessica's dad called back. "Listen here, you little shit. I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but you're not going to embarrass my family like this. We have important people coming to this wedding. Business associates, friends from the club. You think you can just walk away? We paid for half that reception. Actually, sir, I paid for 70% of the reception. I have the receipts. And yes, I can just walk away. Especially when your daughter admitted to using me as emotional training wheels. You haven't heard the last of this. Jessica is devastated. Devastated that her plan fell apart, maybe. Meanwhile, Jessica was going full Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction. She showed up at my office building Wednesday morning, wearing what I can only describe as I'm totally stable cosplay. Hair perfectly styled, full makeup. Wearing the dress she knew I liked. Carrying coffee and pastries. Like we were having a normal morning meetup. Security called up to warn me. I watched from the window as they refused to let her in. The transformation was instant. From sweet-smiling girlfriend to raging banshee in 2.5 seconds. She threw the coffee at the security guard, screamed that she was Marcus's fiancée. You minimum wage rent a cop, had to be escorted to the sidewalk. Note to self, send that security team a gift basket. Later that day, I discovered something that sent my blood pressure through the roof. Jessica had been dipping into my savings account, the one I'd given her access to for emergency purposes only. $18,000 gone over the past 7 months. The most recent withdrawal was 3 days ago. After the therapy session for $3,500, I immediately called my bank, reported the unauthorized withdrawals, changed all my financial passwords. Then I did something that would prove to be nuclear. I emailed Dr. Martinez, waiving my confidentiality for our joint session, asked if she could provide documentation of what was said, as I believed Jessica was now stealing from me and spreading falsehoods. Dr. Martinez responded professionally, providing a formal letter, confirming Jessica had unprompted stated she was using our relationship as emotional preparation before finding someone she actually wanted to marry, and expressed surprise when questioned about whether I knew this. Dr. Martinez noted she was professionally concerned about Jessica's apparent lack of empathy and potential manipulative behavior patterns. I forwarded this letter to my lawyer, along with the bank statements showing the unauthorized withdrawals. I know about the $18,000 you've taken from my savings. You have 48 hours to return the money and the engagement ring, or I'm filing police reports for theft and fraud. Her response was immediate and unhinged. You can't do this to me. I made you before me. You were nothing. I'm just some boring engineer nobody wanted to date. I gave you the best years of my life. Ah, yes, the best years, where she apparently considered me a practice boyfriend while waiting for someone better. Fascinating definition of best. Thursday morning brought chaos. Jessica showed up at my workplace again, this time with a completely different strategy. She was waiting in the parking lot with a huge "I'm sorry" banner, a teddy bear the size of a small child, and enough tears to fill an Olympic swimming pool. The security team, bless them, intercepted her before I even pulled in. My boss, who's known me for 8 years, called me into his office. Marcus, there's a woman downstairs claiming you've stolen her property and locked her out illegally. Then she switched to saying you're the love of her life, and she made a terrible mistake. Then she accused you of emotional abuse. Then she asked if we're hiring in sales. All within 5 minutes, should I be concerned? I pulled out my phone and played the audio recording I'd made of Derek's conversation with Brooke, where she admitted Jessica's legal residence was still her parents' house. Then I showed him the letter from Dr. Martinez and the bank statements. My boss's eyes widened. Like, Jesus, I'm sorry, man. Take the week off if you need it, and we'll alert security not to let her in again. He paused. And no, we're definitely not hiring in sales. By afternoon, Jessica's desperation had evolved into a bizarre PR campaign. She'd posted a 17-minute crying video on Instagram, titled "The Truth About My Broken Engagement," where she claimed I had misunderstood her therapy session, that I was emotionally stunted due to my childhood, and that she was standing by, ready to forgive me when I came to my senses. The video featured strategic tears, careful makeup to look like no makeup, and a scripted, spontaneous emotional breakdown that would make reality TV producers jealous. Derek texted me, "Dude, Jessica's Insta video is like watching a documentary about narcissism. Up 17 minutes of crying without a single actual tear falling. Oscar-worthy." That afternoon, I went nuclear. I'd discovered Jessica had been bad-mouthing me to our mutual friends, claiming I was financially controlling, emotionally unavailable, and had anger issues. She was also claiming the ring was a gift not conditional on marriage, and that she intended to keep it, so I did what any self-respecting man would do. I made a private Instagram story, visible only to our mutual friends. No caption, just screenshots of the bank withdrawals. Dr. Martinez's letter with sensitive info redacted. The text from Jessica to her friend, which Derek's girlfriend had forwarded me, saying, "Marcus is so boring in bed, but his 401k is hot. Counting down until I find someone with both." A photo of the receipt for the engagement ring, clearly marked engagement ring with a $23,500 price tag visible. A screen recording of Jessica's 39 calls in one day after I blocked her number. A screenshot of Jessica's dating profile created 4 days after the therapy session, describing herself as newly single, living my best life. No commentary needed. Within hours, the tide turned dramatically. Friends who had been calling me cold and heartless were suddenly sending apologetic texts. Even Jenna reached out. "Holy shit, Marcus. I had no idea. I'm so sorry." Jessica's response was to double down on the crazy. She showed up at my condo at 1 a.m., somehow convinced the night doorman she was still a resident. He was new and tried to use her old key. When it didn't work, she started pounding on the door, screaming that I was ruining her life and that I owed her for wasting her youth. The police were called. They arrived to find Jessica sitting in the hallway outside my door, surrounded by takeout containers and empty water bottles, scrolling through our old photos, and alternating between sobbing and cussing me out to anyone who walked by. The officers were remarkably patient as they escorted her out, informing her that she could be charged with trespassing if she returned. Her parting words to the officer, "I shit you not." She screamed, "You don't understand, I'm too pretty to be dumped. This isn't how this works." Derek's response when I told him was perfect. "That's not revenge, bro. That's just the truth with receipts. If the truth ruins her, that's on her. Also too pretty to be dumped is going on a t-shirt ASAP." By Friday, Jessica's carefully constructed image was collapsing, faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. Turns out I wasn't the only one she'd been using. She'd borrowed money from multiple friends, claiming medical emergencies that never existed. She'd been bad-mouthing her best friends to each other, creating drama and then positioning herself as the peacemaker. Brooke hilariously was the first to turn on her. After seeing my Instagram receipts, she posted a long Facebook rant about toxic people who use family loyalty to manipulate others. Apparently, Jessica had been sleeping with Brooke's new boyfriend, while simultaneously advising Brooke to take things slow with him because he seems untrustworthy. Top-tier betrayal from someone who literally wrote loyalty in cursive on her wrist. Jessica's response, a complete meltdown. That managed to burn every bridge she had left. She went on an Instagram live rant at 2:30 a.m. clearly intoxicated, where she called Brooke a failed Instagram model with fake boobs and faker personality, claimed her parents never supported her dreams and were obsessed with appearances, said all her friends were basic bitches who were jealous of her, insisted I was her backup plan all along, and she was about to dump me anyway, threatened to expose everyone's secrets if they didn't stop taking Marcus's side. It was like watching someone nuke their entire social life in real time. The chat was a mix of horrified former friends and gleeful popcorn-eating strangers who'd stumbled across the train wreck. She finally ended the stream by throwing her phone, which gave viewers a lovely spinning ceiling shot before cutting out. The real bomb dropped when Ryan, yes, the ex she was supposedly healing from, reached out to me through LinkedIn. Hey man, you don't know me, but I dated Jessica years ago. I'm seeing some mutual friends posting stuff, and someone mentioned my name was coming up. Just wanted to clear the air. I never dated her seriously. We hooked up a few times in college. But when I started dating her roommate now, my wife, she created this whole narrative about me being the one who got away. My wife says she's been telling this story for years. I forwarded this to Derek, who responded. The plot thickens. The Phantom X was just a hookup. She built your entire relationship on a lie about healing, from a relationship that never even existed. It's like discovering your girlfriend's tragic backstory. Was plagiarized from a Lifetime movie. Meanwhile, Jessica was spiraling. She'd shown up at Derek's apartment looking for me, clearly not in her right mind. He recorded the entire interaction, legal in our state, with one-party consent. Highlights included, Marcus is nothing without me. Do you know how many men would kill to be with someone like me? I was doing him a favor by being with him. He should be thanking me. The therapist tricked me into saying all that stuff. She's just jealous because I'm younger and prettier. I deserve that ring. Do you know how many boring dinners with his nerd friends I had to sit through? He'll never find anyone as hot as me. Who will put up with his boring engineer lifestyle? Derek, bless him, just let her rant while the camera rolled. When she finally ran out of steam, he simply said, "Feel better now." Great, because that's all on video. You might want to rethink your next move. She left in tears, but not before knocking over a plant in his entryway and hissing, "You were always jealous of what Marcus and I had." Derek texted me afterward. "Pretty sure what you had was Stockholm Syndrome, my dude." Also, she owes me a new fern. By Friday, Jessica had entered the bargaining phase. She sent a series of increasingly desperate emails. "Marcus, I know I messed up, but we can fix this. I'll go to therapy, real therapy this time. What if we postpone the wedding instead of canceling? I wrote down all the things I love about you. There are 14 things. 14 whole things after 3.5 years. And I'm guessing at least 6 were about my income or property." The real Jessica had finally revealed herself, and it wasn't pretty. It was like watching someone rip off their human mask to reveal the lizard person underneath. Except that's an insult to lizards, who at least have functional loyalty instincts. When I got back to my condo that evening, there was a manila envelope taped to my door. Inside was a handwritten letter from Jessica. 12 pages of what looked like stream of consciousness rambling about how I'd misunderstood her intentions and how we were meant to be together. She claimed the therapy session was just her working through hypothetical scenarios, and that Dr. Martinez had misconstrued her words. The letter ended with, "I know we can get past this. I've already talked to the venue, and they're willing to reschedule for January. Please call me. I miss our life together." Our life together. The one where she was secretly counting down the days until she found someone better while draining my savings account. That life, I shredded the letter, but not before noticing she'd sprayed it with her perfume. The manipulation never stops with these people. They think one whiff of familiar scent will override your entire frontal lobe and make you forget they were planning to discard you all along. Saturday morning, I walked into my office to find a massive bouquet of roses on my desk, with a card that read, "Forever yours, even when you're being stubborn." My coworkers were eyeing me with a mix of curiosity and concern. I grabbed the flowers, walked straight to the break room, and dumped them in the trash. My colleague Dave witnessed the whole thing, and just nodded approvingly. "X problems." "You have no idea," I replied. He shrugged. "Been there, my ex-wife tried to win me back by showing up naked under a trench coat. After I caught her with my brother, some people just can't take an L." By Saturday, exactly 1 week after the therapy session, Jessica's parents had apparently reached the acceptance stage. Her father called his tone completely different from our previous conversations. "Marcus, I owe you an apology. We spoke with Dr. Martinez yesterday. Jessica signed a release allowing us to discuss the session. I had no idea my wife is devastated. We raised her better than this. I appreciate that, sir. The wedding expenses, that's on us. You were right to walk away. I would have done the same." He paused. "For what it's worth, I always thought you were good for her. Stable, honest qualities she clearly doesn't value enough." After we hung up, I felt a strange sense of closure. At least her parents weren't in denial anymore. That weekend, I removed every trace of Jessica. Photos, trinkets, the little sticky notes she used to leave on the fridge, all packed up in boxes and stored in my garage. Until she arranged pickup, Derek and I hit the gym, then went for a hike in the mountains. The fresh air and physical exertion were exactly what I needed. For the first time in a week, I didn't check my phone once in 5 hours. When I did check it, there was a text from an unknown number. "This isn't over, Marcus. You think you've won? But you have no idea what's coming. People like you don't get to reject people like me." I showed Derek, who just laughed. "Classic people like me, what manipulative liars. Who use people as emotional stepping stones? Yeah, real catch there, Jessica." I blocked the number and kept hiking. The following Tuesday, Jessica escalated to a new level of crazy. She showed up at my parents' house in Vermont, a 6-hour drive from our city, claiming she was worried about me and wanted to make sure I was mentally stable. My mom, bless her heart, called me immediately. "Marcus, there's a woman here saying she's your fiancé and that you're having some kind of breakdown. She seems off. As a mom, that's Jessica. We broke up last week. After she admitted she was using me as practice for her real husband, she's been harassing me ever since. Do not let her in. Call the police if she won't leave. My mom, who raised 3 boys on her own after my dad left, and doesn't take crap from anyone, didn't miss a beat. Oh, I see. Don't worry. I'll handle this." Later, she told me she'd said to Jessica, "My son doesn't have a breakdown when he takes out the trash. He just gets a new garbage can. Good luck with your real husband hunt, honey. I suggest looking somewhere your reputation hasn't preceded you." Savage, I come by it honestly. By the 3-week mark, things had settled into a strange new normal. Jessica had gone from rage to bargaining to depression, cycling through tactics like a telemarketer working through a script. One day she'd send threatening emails, the next day sobbing voicemails from new numbers. She even sent a singing telegram to my office, an unfortunate college student dressed as Cupid, who looked deeply uncomfortable delivering a message about eternal devotion to a stone-faced engineer surrounded by equally uncomfortable co-workers. I handed the kid an extra $60 and said, "Tell her it was delivered to the wrong person." Derek and I had started a betting pool on what she'd try next. So far, he'd won with showing up at your mom's house, and I'd won with singing telegram. My money was on fake pregnancy scare for the next round. Derek was betting on showing up with a therapy dog, claiming it's part of her healing process. It all came to a head 4 weeks after the therapy session, when Jessica finally returned the engagement ring. Well, she left it with my building's doorman in a small velvet box. When I opened it, I discovered it wasn't my ring at all, but a cheap cubic zirconia knockoff. Yeah, I texted her directly. "Where's the actual ring, the $3,500 one?" "Not this Home Shopping Network special," she replied immediately. Oops, must have gotten them mixed up. "I have so many rings, you know, but if you want the real one back, we need to talk in person. Dinner tomorrow?" I forwarded the exchange to my lawyer, who called her parents directly. The real ring was returned via courier the next day, with a note from her mother. "We are so sorry. We've arranged for Jessica to stay with her aunt in Wisconsin for a while. She needs help that we should have gotten her years ago. It's been 3 months since the therapy session that changed everything. The aftermath has been both devastating and strangely liberating. Jessica eventually returned the ring after my lawyer sent a formal demand letter, threatening legal action. She did not, however, return the $18,000. Instead, I received a counter-demand from a sleazy lawyer, claiming emotional distress and defamation. My lawyer laughed it off, sending them the recordings, screenshots, and Dr. Martinez's statement. I never heard back, as my lawyer put it. It's hard to claim defamation when the truth makes you look worse than any lie could. I've since learned from mutual friends that Jessica's life has imploded spectacularly. She lost her pharmaceutical sales job. After repeatedly missing work and showing up hungover, she's been effectively excommunicated from our social circle. She had to move back to her parents' house in Wisconsin. Brooke's relationship coaching business tanked. After our mutual friends shared what happened, her parents had to eat almost $55,000 in non-refundable deposits for the Instagram perfect wedding, and apparently now blame her for the whole fiasco. The lavish designer wedding dress that her mom spent $15,000 on is still hanging in her parents' guest room closet as a daily reminder of her failure. She tried starting a breakup recovery podcast that lasted exactly 2 episodes before she got drunk and used it to name and shame everyone who betrayed her. The most satisfying part came last week. I received a series of texts from unknown numbers, which I later confirmed were Jessica using friends' phones. "Marcus, please, I need to talk to you. Everything's falling apart. Please help me. I'll do anything to make this right. I can't find a job, and my parents are threatening to kick me out. They keep saying I embarrassed the family and wasted their money. They won't stop bringing up how much the wedding cost them. Brooke won't even take my calls anymore. I'm begging you to just talk to me. I need a loan just until I get back on my feet. My therapist says you're being abusive by ignoring me. You owe me this after what you did to my reputation. I can't believe you're being so petty. I made one mistake. Did you ever even love me? Because a man who truly loved me would forgive this. Are you ghosting me on purpose? Screw you, Marcus, you destroyed everything. Please talk to me. Let's have a discussion. I promise we can work through this." The psychological whiplash from begging to demanding to guilt, tripping, all within 25 minutes was almost impressive. It's like watching someone audition for multiple roles in the same psychodrama. Then the cherry on top, a text from Brooke. "Marcus, I know we've had our differences, but I need your help. Jessica is spiraling, and I don't know what to do. Worry she keeps showing up at my apartment at 3:30 a.m. crying. Could we talk? I think she needs professional help." I responded with a link to Psychology Today's Therapist Finder, and good luck with that. The audacity is breathtaking. They genuinely believe after everything I might still be manipulated into helping them. The entitlement never ends. It's like watching someone burn down your house and then ask to borrow your fire extinguisher for their next arson project. Even better, Dr. Martinez informed me that Jessica filed a complaint against her with the licensing board, claiming the therapist had manipulated the session to destroy her engagement. The complaint was dismissed after I provided my statement and evidence. Jessica then apparently tried to get her parents to sue Dr. Martinez for emotional damages. They refused after finally getting the full story from the therapist. With my permission, and realizing how much money they wasted on a wedding that was doomed from the start, Jessica's final desperate move. She created a fake profile pretending to be me on a dating app, using old photos from my Instagram. Her cunning plan was apparently to catfish women, treat them horribly, and ruin my dating prospects. Unfortunately for her, the profile was reported within hours. She used a 4-year-old photo where I'm clearly wearing an engagement party name tag that says "Future Mr. Bennett, stellar attention to detail." She listed my height as 5'8". I'm 6'1". As for me, I'm doing surprisingly well. The condo is peaceful. No more walking on eggshells. No more subtle criticisms about my friends' hobbies or career. Derek and I have been hitting the gym regularly and planning a fishing trip to Alaska next summer. Looking back, the red flags were everywhere. The subtle digs about my appearance, the constant comparisons to her friends' partners, the mysterious headaches whenever my family wanted to visit, the way she'd roll her eyes when I talked about work, the Brooke-approved shopping sprees on my credit card for wedding preparation, a classic narcissist playbook, and I was too love-blind to see it. But the wildest part, I'm actually grateful for that therapy session. It was like someone finally turned on the lights in a dark room I'd been fumbling around in for years. Sometimes you need to hear something devastating to realize you've been settling for far less than you deserve. I've started dating again very casually. My standards and boundaries are titanium grade now, and every morning I wake up in my peaceful home. I think about how grateful I am, not for the experience as Jessica suggested I should be, but for the escape. The whole situation taught me something important. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Jessica showed me exactly who she was in that therapy session. A manipulative person who saw relationships as transactions, who viewed other people as stepping stones to what she really wanted, and who had zero empathy for the damage she caused along the way. Dr. Martinez actually reached out to me a few weeks later to check on how I was doing. She said in her 20 years of practice, she'd never seen someone so casually admit to using another person, like Jessica did in our session. She was genuinely concerned about Jessica's mental state and suggested I might want to consider a restraining order. If the harassment continued, the restraining order wasn't necessary though. Jessica's aunt in Wisconsin apparently put her on a strict no-contact regime after Jessica showed up drunk at her workplace, demanding she call me and convince me to take her back. The aunt is a retired military colonel who doesn't tolerate Jessica's brand of chaos. Last I heard, Jessica was in intensive therapy and working at a call center, living in her aunt's basement under house rules. No social media, no dating apps, and definitely no contact with anyone from her past life. My lawyer kept all the documentation in case Jessica ever tries to resurface with more legal threats. But honestly, I think she's finally realized that burning every bridge in your life tends to leave you stranded on a very small island. The truth has a way of catching up with people like her, and social media makes it impossible to completely reinvent yourself when there's a permanent record of your meltdown. Derek still brings up the "too pretty to be dumped" line whenever we need a good laugh. He's actually had t-shirts made with that phrase, as a reminder that entitlement and delusion are a dangerous combination. We've turned it into our inside joke about people who think conventional attractiveness is a free pass to treat others like garbage. The financial hit from the stolen money stung, but honestly, it was worth every penny to learn Jessica's true character before we got married. Imagine if I'd found out after we were legally bound, or worse, after we had kids together. That therapy session saved me from years of manipulation, and probably a devastating divorce down the line. Sometimes I wonder if Jessica ever reflects on what happened, if she ever takes responsibility for her actions, or if she's just moved on to the next victim. Based on everything I learned about her pattern of behavior, I'm guessing it's the latter. People like Jessica don't suddenly develop empathy or self-awareness. They just get better at hiding their true nature, until someone calls them out publicly like I did. The whole experience changed my perspective on relationships completely. I used to think compromise meant accepting behavior that made me uncomfortable. Now I know the difference between healthy compromise and being someone's emotional doormat. I used to think love meant overlooking red flags. Now I know real love doesn't require you to ignore your instincts or sacrifice your self-respect. 6 months later, and I can honestly say, I've never been happier or more at peace. The woman I'm casually seeing now is the complete opposite of Jessica. Honest, direct, emotionally available. And most importantly, she sees our relationship as something valuable in itself, not as a stepping stone to something better. We take things slow and communicate openly. Novel concepts after dealing with Jessica's manipulation. The best part is the complete absence of drama. No mysterious late-night texts. No friends warning me about red flags they've noticed. No family members expressing concern about my relationship. Just two adults treating each other with respect and honesty. It's amazing how peaceful life can be when you're not constantly managing someone else's emotional chaos. Derek jokes that Jessica actually did me a favor by revealing her true nature so dramatically. Instead of slowly poisoning our marriage over years, she nuked it all at once in spectacular fashion, leaving no room for doubt or second guessing. In a weird way, he's right. Better to have your heart broken by the truth than to live a lie that would have destroyed me eventually. So that's my story. How a single therapy session saved my life by showing me exactly who I was about to marry, and how standing up for yourself sometimes means walking away from everything you thought you wanted to find something infinitely better. The truth really does set you free, even when it hurts like hell at first.